Okay, everybody, I'm getting ready to start my drawing. If you think you're having a bad day, I was just partway into a drawing and I turned it off with my elbow. Didn't mean to do that. So here we go again. What I have materials wise, I still have my same still life here. I just moved the apple over there so I'd know which video this was. I have my kneaded eraser, and if it's dirty, you just stretch it out again, clean it up again. It's great like that. You can even use it to clean off your fingers while you're at it. And then I have my pieces of charcoal. Some of you I gave an extra piece or two of this one, but approximately 5 pieces of charcoal. And then we have a piece of paper which is called charcoal paper. This is in the back of your folder or near the front where there's other gray papers there. Or maybe one that's kind of a color like green or something. There's some variations on the charcoal paper. It has a lot of texture. If you look really, really closely at it, you can see lines in it, kind of like a grid, and it's kind of cream colored. So look for this piece of paper specifically, the one that has lines on it or a grid. It has 2 sides to it. One side of the paper has more of a grid. The other side is a little bit smoother. Normally, I prefer the side without the grid. I don't necessarily want a grid in my drawing, but the grid is considered the correct side. It really hangs on to the charcoal. So when you're drawing, you're going to notice that instead of it slipping around kind of on the newsprint, it's almost like this is fuzzy and it grabs the charcoal. So your charcoal is going to be darker and a little bit stronger and actually a little bit harder to erase. Okay, I'm going to take a look at my drawing. We're doing just one drawing today, in this video, I mean. One final drawing, and I want you to have a little bit more time, and I want you to kind of enjoy it, because that's what, art's all about. So what I'm trying to get you to do is plan your composition first. Think composition, and then think about, how I'm going to do this and that, and so on. I was looking over at one side of my composition here, and I noticed these interesting curves, so I want to see if I can get that into my drawing. So that's what this composition is going to be about, is a series of curves. So I'm kind of going to do a modified mapping in this sense, because I'm plotting my curves I want in my drawing. But, however you want that. This starts here, this ends here. These types of things are what I'm doing right now in the drawing to kind of make a plan. Right now, these are where some flowers are going to be. I don't know if I'll be able to get the whole drawing detailed in. And then this is actually the fish. This is actually our apple again. So here's my plan. And you can't even tell what this is, but this is going to help me have a nice composition from the very beginning. I still have lots of room to spend time being do details and everything. So I really encourage you, whether it's dots or slashes or lines, with charcoal you have to be a little careful because you can always get rid of things. And by the way, let's say I never use this little line right here. A little line or two here and there, it's considered energy. It's considered a trace of where you've been. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing to change your lines and have extra lines in your drawing. Now I'm going back in my drawing. I'm going to start adding some detailing. Here's my apples changed just a little bit. There's a piece of fabric here again with it, and I'm kind of really liking the fabric. I hope you have some that you're drawing with. Here's my little fish again, and then he looks something like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to change his shape a little bit or what's going on with the shape. And then I have there's this pot that starts around here. So I'm just kind of thinking about my design, and I'm thinking about how I'm gonna put the things in that are there. This fake kind of plant thing I have, and then how it's all gonna come together. And this has pieces coming down here too, and then I have a basket back here. So I'm still working with this general plan I have. I have my fabric. I might even kind of not have so many things here. I might just have this open kind of in my composition. As long as you have, let's say, at least 5 of your items, I think that's fine. And sometimes with charcoal is cool because you can leave things kind of unsaid. So now I'm going to go back and start refining things. I want my apple to maybe look like an apple. It has some lines in it, so including some of that, and then I can always do a little bit of blending. You don't want to over blend, but a little bit here and there. A little bit of maybe some blending here with my fabric, so there's pieces that are very white, and then maybe some areas in between things where you see shadows and so on. So that would be fun to do. So right now I'm already playing. See, we're not very far into the drawing, and I get to kind of have some fun with this. I'm mostly using that same piece of charcoal because I'm adding a lot of lines and having fun with my details and so on. I really made the fish happy. Sorry about that. If you don't like happy fish. And I'm going over see how not perfect my lines are? I keep changing where they're located, and it doesn't matter, because with the charcoal I can be expressive and have fun. That's why I chose charcoal for you today. You're forced to be a little expressive, and you're forced to kind of enjoy the process. So here's my fishy, and then he has this kind of all this texture right here, so I just keep playing back and forth with the texture, and I can even get my eraser and erase some highlights back again. So I would play back and forth with things in my drawing. So I'm pretty early time-wise on this, so if you haven't started, just go ahead and start, and you can look up at what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm just playing with my drawing. I'm trying to give you more time on this one. So spend some time wherever your center of interest happens to be. Definitely spend time there. That's the whole purpose, right? So my center of interest is not necessarily the fish being a fish. So I don't want him to be too exciting. So I'm going to move on from there. I have a plant right here. There's a kind of a dish, and then some leaves coming up. So I'm going to start putting my leaves in here. And then, let me see, there's one that's right here, and then a big one that comes down here. And these leaves all have a certain amount of color to them. And there's a little bit of shading with them as well. So, and they're not all that important in my drawing, but it's important that they're there. So, and then the vase has some stuff in it. Okay, and coming up out of here. So I'm doing different types of things. I thought it'd be fun to work with all these curves. You saw that at the beginning of my drawing. And then this comes down, and there's some, this is a fake flower, but it's supposed to be a budding, oh dear, orchid. And then there's a couple different ones kind of overlapping each other right here. There's my first flower, and then my second flower coming up. And you don't always have to say everything that needs to be said. See, I didn't even complete that line there, but you're going to read it as if I did complete the line. So here's inside of that particular orchid there. There's another nice one here. And they're all coming down and making this interesting shape that's leading you down. And then there's some more of these little things hanging down here. And then back here, up on the top of the drawing, I've got my basket. So I'm just, I'm 9 minutes into my drawing, plus I've been talking. So what's so great about charcoal is that you can do so much and be so expressive with it. Now, I don't want to get too much attention away from my flowers I put in. So as I put in this basket back here, because I wanted the curve of it to get me working back in, I'm going to have to kind of keep calming it down and maybe emphasize this even stronger to make sure it does kind of pop out. So I'm going to add some more little darks in between here and get that coming out. And then I'll just add some suggestions of details on my basket without getting too exciting about it. And as far as this rest of my composition, some material, you know, I wanted the cloth, and then some areas. I'm going to switch now. Let's say the table's a little bit dark. See what I'm doing with my dark tables? I've got a negative space now that's pointing in at my still life. So kind of pushing against it and balancing it. So that's what I'm doing here, and then maybe large here and back here. So I'm still working on my drawing and playing around with it. I could go back and work on some more details if I want to. I can work here and make my flowers more realistic. But I just wanted you to get a chance to have one of your drawings be a little bit more complete today. So I can go back in, I can go back into the apple for sure. I can go pretty much back into everything, adding some more details. Remember, this is a really nice drawing tool that has a little bit more control than the one I was using. As you get used to me as an artist, you'll notice I have no problem being expressive. That's kind of my preferred way to draw. But sometimes you know, if I want more control, you can go back and take some more time. So here's the other eye on the other fish. Anyway, just play with your drawing. Maybe another couple minutes, maybe yours is done. And I really hope you enjoyed what we're working on, planning your composition first, and then going in. And then today with the charcoal, kind of an emphasis on being creative. Remember, you know, what is that? There was a plan, but also, you know, it's just what needs to be there for my composition. So you can play back and forth with things with charcoal. Just a line or two can do a lot for your drawing. So have some fun. Have some fun today. You're going to take a picture of all three drawings. If you are not feeling this drawing, flip it over, do it again. And there's a second piece of this paper as well. If you wanted to, I don't have a plan for it. It's just there to be extra if you want to try it again. So I hope you enjoyed this. We're doing something completely new next week. Thank you, everyone.